Hello everyone, this is Kevin O'Leary. People know me as Mr. Wonderful, and there's a reason for that. It's not because I'm a particularly nice guy. Ask anyone who stood before me in the tank with a terrible idea, they'll tell you the truth. No, it's because I understand one fundamental principle that governs our world: money. I understand how to get it, how to keep it, and most importantly, how to make it work for you relentlessly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even while you sleep in your custom-made fret linens. You see, most people, probably people like you, think that getting rich is about a salary. You get a job, you climb a ladder, you put some money in your 401k, you buy a few shares of some tech company you read about in a magazine, and you hope. You hope that in 40 years you'll have enough to stop working and maybe, just maybe, take a cruise to a place you've never been. Let me be brutally honest with you, that is a loser's game. That is the path to mediocrity. That is the financial equivalent of being a barnacle on the great ship of capitalism, just clinging on for the ride. The truly wealthy, the people I spend my time with, the individuals who don't just fly private but own the entire fleet, they don't play that game. Their stock portfolio, as impressive as it might be, is often just the beginning. It's the boring part, the baseline. It's the vegetable on the plate. The real flavor, the real juice, the real spectacular returns come from a world you probably don't even know exists. I'm talking about the world beyond stocks. Today I'm going to pull back the curtain. I'm going to give you a glimpse into the real playbook of the ultra-rich. I'm going to tell you about 5 alternative investments where serious generational wealth is not only stored but magnified. This isn't your financial advisor's boring pamphlet on municipal bonds. This is the real deal. So stop what you're doing. Put down your lukewarm coffee. Stop scrolling through pictures of things you'll never own. And listen. Because what I'm about to tell you might be the most important financial lesson you will ever receive. It's time to stop thinking like a peasant and start thinking like a king. First, let's talk about art. And I don't mean the sad, mass-produced print you bought at a home goods store to match your sofa. I'm talking about fine art. Tangible, beautiful, and breathtakingly expensive assets that hang on the walls of penthouses in Manhattan, villas in Lake Como, and in climate-controlled, high-security free ports in Geneva and Singapore. Why art? Because unlike a stock certificate, which is just a digital entry on a ledger, a great piece of art has a soul. It has provenance. It has a story. When you own a Picasso, you don't just own paint on a canvas. You own a piece of the 20th century. You own a fragment of a genius's mind. But let's get past the romance, because romance doesn't pay the bills. Let's talk numbers. The art market is one of the oldest, most resilient, and most opaque markets in the world. It doesn't correlate with the S&P 500. When the stock market is crashing, Jean-Michel Basquiat can be soaring. This is the holy grail for a diversified portfolio. Non-correlation, the ultra-wealthy understand this. They're not buying art to decorate their homes, although that's a lovely side benefit. They are buying it as a strategic allocation of capital. Think about it. A company can go bankrupt, a currency can be devalued, but a masterpiece is eternal. I've been in rooms at Christie's and Sotheby's where the air crackles with tension. You see billionaires from every corner of the globe bidding, paddles in hand, their personal art advisors whispering in their ears. They're not just buying a painting, they're fighting for a trophy asset. I watched a Warhol sell for a price that would fund a small country for a year. Why? Because there's only one. Scarcity is the ultimate driver of value. And in the world of high-end art, you are dealing with absolute scarcity. Now, how do you play in this sandbox? It's not for the faint of heart. You don't just walk into a gallery and pick something you like. That's how you get fleeced. No, you need experts. You need art historians, you need provenance researchers, you need conservators, you build a team. You treat it like a business. You might focus on a specific period, say post-war and contemporary. You might focus on a specific artist whose market is on the rise. You track auction results. You go to art fairs like Art Basel in Miami or Frieze in London. You are hunting for value. Maybe you acquire a piece by a mid-career artist just before they have a major museum retrospective. The value could explode overnight. I'm talking about turning a $500,000 investment into $5 million in a few years. These are the kinds of returns that make the stock market look like a savings account. You also have to consider the logistics. You need specialized insurance, professional installation, and for the truly valuable pieces, storage in a facility that looks like something out of a Mission Impossible movie. These free ports are economic zones where assets can be stored tax-free. You can buy a masterpiece in New York, fly it to Geneva, and hold it for a decade as it appreciates in value, all without paying a dime in capital gains until you finally sell. It's a brilliant strategy. It's the kind of financial engineering that separates the merely rich from the stratospherically wealthy. This is a market of passion, yes, but it is also a market of cold, hard calculation. It's about owning a piece of history that also happens to be a magnificent financial instrument. Next, let's move from the wall to the cellar. I'm talking about fine and rare wine. Now, before you tell me about the case of Cabernet you bought at the supermarket, let me stop you right there. You are dead to me. We are not talking about drinking wine. We are talking about investing in wine. Specifically investment-grade wine from a handful of sacred terroirs around the world. I'm talking about the Grand Cru of Burgundy, the first growths of Bordeaux, names that are whispered with reverence. Domaine de la Romanée-Conti, Chateau Lafite Rothschild, Chateau Margaux. This is not a beverage, this is liquid gold. Why is it such a powerful investment? Two beautiful reasons: diminishing supply and increasing global demand. Every time someone somewhere opens a bottle of 1982 Lafite to celebrate a deal, the global supply of that specific asset decreases. It's gone forever. Meanwhile, every year, new millionaires and billionaires are created in emerging economies in Asia, in the Middle East, and Eastern Europe. And what do they want? They want the same status symbols the old money has enjoyed for centuries. They want to serve a legendary vintage at their dinner table. So you have a finite and constantly shrinking supply being chased by an ever-expanding pool of wealthy buyers. That is a perfect recipe for price appreciation. I started my own wine collection, O'Leary Fine Wines, not just because I enjoy a spectacular glass of wine, but because I saw the phenomenal business model. The numbers are staggering. The Liv-ex 100, which is like the Dow Jones for fine wine, has outperformed many traditional equity indices over the long term. We're talking about an asset class that is stable, that grows steadily, and that you can, if you must, drink and enjoy. It's the ultimate collectible. You can buy wine on Premier or as futures while it's still aging in the barrel in Bordeaux. You're essentially betting on the quality of the vintage before it's even bottled. It's a high-stakes game, but if you get it right, if you buy into a legendary vintage like 2005 or 2009, the returns can be astronomical before the wine ever leaves France. You hold it in a bonded warehouse, perfectly stored, for a decade or two. You never touch it. You just watch its value climb, and just like with art, this is a global market. A case of Screaming Eagle for Napa Valley can be auctioned in Hong Kong for a fortune. A single bottle of Egon Müller Schwarzhofburger Trockenbeer from Germany can sell for more than the price of a luxury car. We're even seeing the rise of investment-grade spirits. A rare bottle of the Macallan 1926 sold for nearly $2 million. It's madness, but it's a very profitable madness. You are investing in craftsmanship, in legacy, and in scarcity. Building a wine portfolio requires expertise. You need to understand vintages, producers, critic scores, and storage. You buy by the case, not the bottle, and its provenance is everything. You need to prove it's been stored in perfect conditions its entire life. But if you do it right, you're not just building a wine cellar. You're building a fortress of wealth, one that is insulated from the whims of Wall Street, and that you can pass down through generations. Now let's talk about something you can wear on your wrist, but that is infinitely more complex than a simple fashion accessory. I am talking about luxury timepieces, horology. And again, let me be clear. I am not talking about some quartz-powered fashion watch with a designer logo slapped on it. That's garbage. That's a liability, not an asset. I am talking about mechanical marvels from the holy trinity of watchmaking: Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, and Vacheron Constantin. I'm talking about the undisputed king Rolex. These are not just watches, they are machines. Hundreds of tiny, perfectly engineered components working in harmony to track the passage of time. They are a testament to human ingenuity, but from an investment perspective, they are a phenomenon. Take the Patek Philippe Nautilus 5,711 in steel. For years, its retail price was around $30,000. A lot of money, yes, but here's the kicker. You couldn't get one. The waiting lists were years, even decades long. It was a club you couldn't buy your way into. So what happened? A frantic secondary market developed. The market price for that same watch soared to over $100,000, then $150,000, and even higher. People were paying 5 times the retail price just to have one. That is an insane return on investment. The same story is true for certain Rolex professional models, like the Daytona or the GMT Master 2 Pepsi. You walk into a Rolex dealer and the display cases are empty. It's a brilliant marketing strategy. They have created a global frenzy by starving the market. Why are these watches so valuable? It's a combination of brand equity, history, craftsmanship, and controlled production. They represent a certain status. When you wear a Patek, you're not just telling the time, you're telling the world that you've arrived. It's a signal to others in the know. It opens doors. I've had more deals start with a conversation about the watch on my wrist than I can count. It's a language among the successful. Investing in watches is a deep rabbit hole. You need to understand reference numbers, dial variations, the importance of box and papers, and the condition of the piece. A tiny scratch can affect the value by thousands of dollars. A rare tropical dial where the color has faded in a unique way can make a watch exponentially more valuable. You have independent watchmakers like F.P. Journe or Philippe Dufour, whose pieces are produced in such minuscule quantities that they are essentially unobtainable, trading for millions at auction. This is an asset you can enjoy every day. You can wear your investment, you can travel with it anywhere in the world. It's portable, it's discreet, and it's a store of value that is recognized globally. You can walk into a dealer in Dubai, Tokyo, or Geneva, and your Rolex is a liquid asset. It's a currency. So while the masses are gambling on crypto, the smart money is quietly acquiring hard assets, things of beauty and mechanical perfection that hold their value and appreciate, ticking away, second by second, growing your wealth. Let's shift gears now, quite literally. Let's talk about classic cars and modern hypercars. This is an investment class fueled by passion, nostalgia, and pure, unadulterated horsepower. To the average person, a car is a depreciating asset. The second you drive it off the lot, it loses value. And for 99.9% of cars, that is absolutely true. But for the remaining 0.1%, they are some of the most spectacular performing assets on the planet. I'm talking about the blue chip classics, the Ferraris of the 50s and 60s, the Aston Martins driven by James Bond, the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing. These are not just cars, they are rolling sculptures. They are historical artifacts from a golden age of motoring. Take the Ferrari 250 GTO. Only 36 were ever made in the early 1960s. To own one, you need to be part of a very exclusive club. They trade hands privately for upwards of $50 million, $60 million, even $70 million. In the 1980s, you could have bought one for a few $100,000. Do the math on that return. It makes Apple stock look pathetic. What drives these values? Again, it's extreme scarcity, historical significance, and beauty. But there's another factor. The experience. The ultra-rich don't just lock these cars away in a garage. They use them. They participate in exclusive rallies like the Mille Miglia in Italy or the Colorado Grand. They show them at concours d'elegance events like Pebble Beach, where the world's most beautiful cars are judged. It's a lifestyle. It's a community. It's a way to enjoy your wealth in a visceral, thrilling way. The smell of the leather, the sound of the V12 engine, the feeling of the road, these are things a stock certificate can never give you. The market has different tiers. You have the icons like the 250 GTO. Then you have other highly collectible models from Porsche, Jaguar, and Lamborghini. And then there's the emerging market for modern classics from the 80 seconds and 90 seconds. The poster cars that a new generation of wealthy collectors grew up dreaming about. And that's just the classic side. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the modern hypercars, Bugatti, Pagani, Koenigsegg. These are technological marvels that cost millions of dollars straight from the factory. Many are sold as limited editions, and just like with watches, getting an allocation is a battle. You have to be a loyal client of the brand. If you are lucky enough to get an allocation for a car like the Ferrari LaFerrari or the Porsche 918 Spider, you can often sell it a year later for a significant premium. It's called flipping. And while the manufacturers frown upon it, it's a very real and profitable game. Investing in cars requires immense knowledge. You need to worry about matching numbers, ensuring the original engine and chassis are intact, restoration quality and maintenance, which can cost a fortune. But for those who have the capital and the passion, it is an incredibly rewarding asset class. It combines the thrill of driving with the potential for spectacular financial returns. It is the ultimate expression of wealth in motion. Finally, I want to talk about the most esoteric and perhaps the most powerful alternative investment of all, access. You can't find this on a balance sheet. You can't track it on an index. But access is the invisible currency of the ultra-rich. What is it? It's the ability to get into rooms that others can't. It's joining clubs that have a waiting list of generations. It's having a seat at tables where the future is being decided. This can take many forms. It could be a membership at a place like Augusta National Golf Club, home of the Masters. It's rumored there are only 300 members, and you can't ask to join. You must be invited. A membership there is priceless because it gives you access to a network of some of the most powerful people in the world. Deals are done on those fairways that will never be reported in the financial press. It could be a membership at an exclusive ski and golf resort, like the Yellowstone Club in Montana, a private playground for billionaires. It's not just about the skiing. It's about the fact that your neighbors are titans of industry, technology, and finance. It's about your children growing up with their children. That is a network that money alone cannot buy. This investment class also includes things like private jet programs. Services like NetJets or VistaJet aren't just about convenience. They are about efficiency and status. When you can fly to 4 cities in one day for meetings, you are operating on a different plane of existence than someone who has to deal with commercial airports. That is a competitive advantage. It's a tool for wealth creation. But beyond that, it's another network. The people you meet at these private terminals, the people you share a jet with, they are part of the club. The ultimate form of investing in access is philanthropy. When you donate a significant amount of money to a museum, a university, or a hospital, you're not just being charitable. You are buying a seat on the board. You are getting your name on a building. You are being invited to private dinners with presidents, Nobel laureates, and the very people you were just buying art from. You are shaping the world, and in doing so, you are placed at the very center of it. This is the end game. It's when your money starts to buy you influence, legacy, and a form of immortality. This is the least liquid investment of all, but it often provides the greatest return in terms of power, networking, and opportunities that you would never have found otherwise. It's the final piece of the puzzle that separates the merely wealthy from the dynasties. So there you have it. Art, wine, watches, cars, and access. This is the world beyond stocks. It's a world of tangible assets, of passion, of scarcity, and of spectacular returns. It requires more work. It requires more expertise. It's not for everyone, but it is the real way wealth is played at the highest level. So the next time you look at your boring portfolio of mutual funds, I want you to remember this conversation. I want you to ask yourself if you're playing the game like a pro or if you're just another barnacle clinging on for the ride. The choice is yours. Now go out there and make some money.